Hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And we are here with Martin Cowart from Financial Heart Space. How are you, Martin?
I am terrific here, Matt. I'm so glad to be here having a conversation with you about money matters.
I agree. I love your business tagline, prosperity mindset coaching for gay men. So it's a nice elevator pitch focus.
Yeah, it is exactly what I do. And I do it because I think that as we move out of the old scarcity, old fear driven scarcity way of doing things and move into what I call the new post pandemic abundance economy,
Yeah,
my mission is to bring our gay community into that world.
yeah,
And I think particularly for us gay men who grew up sometimes in a world of not being good enough and having to strive harder than others. I mean, everybody has a problem with some sense of emotional attachments to money and their sense of self-worth. But I think for us gay men, it's because we have a deeper wound around our sense of worth because of our sexual orientation. I really like to focus on that because we can break through all that then we become really powerful, creative uh, gay men who are able to make a big difference in the world.
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I really feel like I've gotten to know you over the last several months during this pandemic, and because you've created a kind of a video podcast, and you've really been getting the message out. Because and I'll focus. The core of your business is financial wealth coaching and so forth, but you've really like taken a much broader approach to the whole matter.
Well, yeah, thank you for saying that and noticing that. Yes, I have. I live by what I call my North Star. I live by a mission,
Yeah,
and I don't know how else I could do it. And that mission is my mission is I am creating a world of abundance and prosperity by showing up with love and gratitude. And that is my message. And that's what I really want to get everybody to join me in. And particularly what I'm working to do is to get as many of us gay men in that movement to lead the world into that truth.
yeah,
We
yeah.
and we as very and we're wounded, so we can go into that wound. We can really get power. We can really step up and play big if we're willing to really make a difference in this world because we have some very very unique gifts because we're gay.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we're gay, we have some very unique gifts to bring to the world to lead this globe, to lead the whole world
yeah,
into that world of abundance and prosperity. Because while that's my mission, it's my mission to, if you like, recruit you
yeah,
to
yeah.
bring you into my mission so that you too are living in that world of abundance and prosperity and the whole world can live in that. So it's
Yeah.
my coaching practice supports that, but that's my bigger mission.
Yeah. How did you get started with all this? That sounds like, is that the $1 million question?
Let me tell you, yeah, I love that question. I love that question. I am today. I would I see myself as a $7 million CEO building a $7 million enterprise.
Yeah,
But I can tell, and I think everybody should see themselves as something big, building something big and significant in the world. And I just wrote a blog about that.
yeah,
It came out last night, as a matter of fact. But I have not always seen myself as a $7 million asset building a $7 million enterprise. I probably spent most of my life up into my 60s seeing myself as $100,000 asset, trying my best to build $1 million business for myself.
yeah,
That's the truth.
yeah,
And so and the problem with that, even in the times when everything came tumbling down, which was back in 2016, I love to tell a story about that. I saw myself as $100,000 asset, but I was making a good bit more than that.
yeah,
But my imposter syndrome was so loud that it was telling me, you're not good enough to be making this much money. You're not worthy enough. I had a big old fancy office on Park Avenue. I worked for a big old wealth management firm, two doors down from the managing director, 44th floor, great view. And my imposter said, you're a fraud. Everybody finds out about you. You're going to lose it all. And it was painful because everybody would think I was really successful, but on the inside, I was miserable. I was scared to death.
yeah,
So, and then when we elected Trump as president, the whole world came falling apart from my perspective because we had elected the man who represented all the bullies who bullied me in South Georgia growing up, including my father.
Yeah.
So now, not only was I dealing with imposter syndrome, and I was outwardly gay. I mean, they hired me because they wanted my market share, which I found out later was really kind of toxic. But that's another story. But the reality is, when it all came tumbling down, they didn't care about me. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And they didn't care about gay people either. Because what they were excited about, I found myself in a very toxic environment with most, not everybody, of course, but many of the high producing people around me were excited about this new president because he was Republican. He'd be good for the market.
Yeah.
So I found myself in this very, very toxic place. And it didn't take very long, actually a matter of months, before I went from being a top producer to being on the edge of bankruptcy.
Wow.
And I will tell you this, that I'll make it really short, but I was at home one day. This is where I made the pivot. This is what changed my life and how it got me here. I was at home one day having this pity party for myself because I think the week before they had repossessed my car, I got it back, but I was getting mortgage notices and people were telling me I should file bankruptcy and all kinds of stuff. And it was miserable. I mean, I was miserable.
Yeah.
And I gave myself this great big pity party one day, and I called and spoke to my spiritual teacher and therapist, and told her my problem. And she said, "Well, Martin, yeah, you could go bankrupt, and it would relieve the problem. You might feel a little better, but it's not going to solve the problem. The problem is much deeper inside you. If you want to solve this problem, you got to do exactly what you did 10 years ago. You got to surrender it to God." Yeah. And I knew exactly what she meant because I'd done it 10 years ago, but I was still holding on to Martin was going to hold on to his control of his money because he knew better than anybody else, certainly better than God. Yeah. And I had made a huge mess of myself. So I'm going to tell you, as soon as I let it go, as soon as I just finally surrendered it and got on my hands and he said, "God, I have made a mess of my life. I am miserable. I feel shame. I don't know how to solve it, but I know you love me because I've had a relationship with you for a long time. And I know darn well that if I actually just totally surrender this to you because you love me and because you're a powerful force within me, you will help me solve this problem so that I can feel joy again." And I'll tell you something, all of a sudden, I finally did this. This is going to sound a little woo-woo, but this is what happened. And when and I teach my clients this, by the way, because it works. It's the way I solve a problem. When I finally surrendered it, really me out of agony, all of a sudden, this sense of grace, this sense of love and power filled me up with such a sense of something within me I never quite experienced before.
Yeah.
And that voice in my head said, "Martin, none of this stuff matters that you're so worried. It doesn't matter if you're a top producer, if you make $1 million, if you get certified with the man, all these things that I was so upset about because they weren't happening the way I wanted them to happen. None of that stuff matters, Martin. Yeah. The only thing that matters is that you show up with love and gratitude, and I will do the rest." And I knew what I was. I don't mean I, Martin. I mean what I call now Joy the Wise Woman, my divine avatar, my divine spirit. And for a few days, I went skipping. I had this kind of enlightenment moment, and I was skipping through the universe, holding hands with God. Yeah. So I all came crashing down. Then I found myself in a darker night, a darker place. I didn't know who I was. I wasn't that person that used to be, but I didn't know who I was. So then I had to come back into this. With the support of my coaches, I actually began to reform myself, the version of Martin you see today, which is led by the divine spirit, to actually become the spiritual teacher and the prosperity and mindset coach for others. Because what I realized at the time, I was a wealth manager and everybody wanted financial freedom. And all I knew as an external coach was how to build a plan. But what they wanted the same freedom I had, which was the freedom from their emotional attachments to money. Yeah. And that's what I do today. I help, and I specifically help gay men look at themselves around worthiness issues so they can actually live a life full of power and abundance and gratitude and joy and make something big happen.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's a lot. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I
tried to get it into a short enough story so we wouldn't bore our audience to death. But I think people need to know that they hear me say I'm a $7 million CEO building a
Yeah,
7 million.
yeah,
Well, who is that?
yeah,
As you see, I really wasn't always. It's really all about a mindset shift.
yeah.
Really
No, I
all
get
about
it.
owning your power and stepping into it.
Yeah, for the show that I've come to know you, so because you're all, yeah, with your video podcast, you're also bringing other voices in with yours and kind of sharing that. But how does that fit into your like this whole realm you put together?
Because every story, every person's story, whether you're gay or straight, it adds to the healing of our
Yeah,
world.
yeah,
This to me is we're wounded. That's what that is. We are wounded by money. Like my therapist one time told me, Martin, you're not just afraid of money. You don't just have a fear of money. Money terrorizes you.
hmm,
And I think that's true for most people living in America,
yeah,
in our culture, maybe around the world. I think it's specifically true for gay men because of the fact that money was used so much as a weapon of reward and punishment.
hmm,
If you do what I tell you, if you be straight, if you get married, if you live in the way we want you to, we'll help you out. We'll give you some money.
yeah,
But if you want to be yourself, you're on your own.
yeah,
Well, that's painful. And so it's really hard to, we might on the surface, I want more money, I want more money, but underneath that, at the subconscious level, we're thinking, I don't want anything to do with money because it was so painful.
yeah. Interesting. I do know that for folks that have come out, at least earlier generations and so forth, that was probably the number one tool used is that, oh, you're out of the will now. I've heard that time and time again.
Oh yeah, you're out of the will. We're not going to. I have a very good friend of mine who's a beautiful man and a great architect now, and his parents cut him off from funding for college. When he was in the middle of college, we're not paying any more college for you. He had to figure out how to get it done himself.
Yeah.
And you and I could go. We could name every pilot we know probably and got a story of some sense. That's what I mean about having trauma in our lives
Yeah.
around money. And we as gay men, we put up these protective barriers, and we're still putting them up. And that's what we have to tear down. That's what I'm so good at helping my brothers do.
Wow. Well, I'm going to make sure this is amazing, and I'm going to make sure that when we post this video, that there's links to everything you do and all your social media and so forth, because I think it's important for people to be able to pick the platform of choice and be able to really follow through and be able to pay attention.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I have created a Facebook group specifically for us, specifically for GBTQ business leaders who are smart, successful, creative, and who really do want to empower themselves to live lives of significance and for the betterment of the world, and really begin to say, I'm tired of living small. I want to live. I want to be like Martin. I want to be a $7 million CEO building a $7 million asset as well. And why not? If we don't create it, who's going to do it?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what that Facebook group is all about. It's about a place for us to get together because it's scary. I mean, I got to tell you, when I went out to the world and started telling people I'm a $7 million asset, they'd be like, who in the hell is that? Because they didn't understand it. Well, I'm not saying that I'm worth that today or that number is so important. But what I'm saying is this. I'm on a journey to create something of significance during my lifetime, something with a legacy to it, something that's going to have an impact on the world. And it's the journey. So when I claim myself as the leader of that journey, I can't think of myself as a $100,000 asset trying to survive. I have to embody a $7 million, see myself as a $7 million asset, creating a $7 million revenue. Or $7 billion enterprise, whatever. And that's what I'm talking about. So, and everybody can. I mean, that's how Oprah Winfrey did it. I mean, she and I are the same age. We both were born in rural South. She was born in Mississippi. I was born in Georgia. And I came from pretty privileged white folks, and she didn't. Yeah. And her chances of survival were less than mine. But Lord, she's now worth $2.7 billion. Where did she build it? Out of thin air.
Yeah, yeah.
She created that. She created this empire for the betterment of the world. And she didn't take money from anybody. Everybody could be a $2.7 billion to build that if they want. Because it's not like a finite amount of it somewhere that you're going to take your share about it. Yeah. The more we build, the more abundant the world is, the more wealthy the world becomes.
Yeah, yeah. You're an inspiration, Martin.
Thank you.
I love it. I do look forward to you're not too far away from me here now that you're not in the South, now you're in the Northeast. And
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey.
I look forward to connecting with you in the real world soon.
I would love to. You ever get over to New York? Where are you located?
Actually, now I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So
Well, that's not far. Well, by driving, it's a little bit of a hike, isn't it? I don't
yeah,
think I've ever driven to Allentown.
it's a 2-hour drive to New York City. So
Okay, well, I would love it if next time you're coming to the city. I don't think you're going to be coming to North Jersey.
yeah,
Maybe coming through North Jersey, we can stop and have lunch. But next time you're coming this way, please give me a little heads up so I can come to the city and go have a nice lunch with you.
I would love that. So thanks so much for being here with us, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Take care now.